Welcome to Built for This, the podcast where purpose meets performance. Hosted by business strategist and human behavior specialist Carly Pepin, this show dives into the real stories behind high-growth businesses. Let's bring life to your vision.
Awesome. Welcome, everyone. So today's going to be a really fun day. We have Alfredo Dominguez with us, and he's the CEO of Velocity Artificial Lift Solutions, where he leads the development of engineering services and technologies that help oil companies produce more efficiently and cost effectively. With a background rooted in applied engineering and field-driven problem solving, Alfredo has built his career around translating complex technical challenges into practical, scalable solutions. His work has been recognized through multiple published and presented technical papers, reflecting his commitment to advancing performance and reliability in the energy sector. Alfredo leads with a values-based approach centered on honesty, dependability, and respect, principles that guide both his decisions and team culture. One of the defining challenges of his career when his company was targeted by an ex-employee and supplier conspiracy aimed at stealing proprietary designs and undermining the business. Navigating that period reinforced a belief he carries forward. Even in the darkest moments, clarity and support can emerge if you stay open enough to see it. So thank you so much for coming, Alfredo.
Thank you for having me. Good to see you again.
Definitely. So this is going to be cool. I got to meet Alfredo like right after he was having that dark moment, which was really cool. And yeah, just watching you get to the other side has been really quite inspiring. So let's talk about that company that you have, right? So when you started this company, what inspired you to build the company to the degree it is today? Because you've done quite well with this.
Well, to be fair, it's still kind of a startup. I mean, we registered it at the end of 2023. We broke even last year, and then this past year, we posted our first profit. So we're getting there.
Awesome.
It like everything. I mean, it's a challenge. I don't know any business that's easy. But yeah, it's everyday step forward for sure.
And this is a transition from the last company you had, right? With the one where you had the ex-employee come in. So what made you decide, like, what's the difference between the company you had before and the company you have now? And what made you decide to make that switch?
So, like you said, it was a very dark moment. And at the time, we depended heavily in one country in particular. And within that one country, the largest customer decided to cut us off. So getting back into that was going to be pretty difficult. And thanks to you and to others, we decided, by we, I mean, I have one partner and, my team, we decided to change the model a little bit. Before, we were basically a distributor / rep. So we would sell other people's products. And the company had already started to evolve into something different. So what we did with the new company is just focus on that differentiating factor, which is instead of just selling the product, we actually analyze and study what a more holistic solution would be. And then, yes, we can provide certain products for whatever issue the customer is having. And even though it sounds like it's the same, it really isn't. It's a whole different approach. And lucky for us, we're sort of gaining ground in the field as an expert in a very particular niche of a market that even the big boys aren't looking at.
Which is awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. And let me know too, because I imagine the company that you built before was quite substantial. And so it's almost like you're getting to take and translate some of this dynamic from that into this new venture that you've differentiated yourself. Like, what would you say that you're bringing from that other company into this new venture that's been really helpful?
Well, a lot of things. I mean, you learn from the good and the bad. So obviously, I've been in the business many years. So The relationships you build over time are super important. And that's why, if you're dependable and honest, it pays off eventually. Um, and then the way you run the business is also different once you learn from your mistakes. So what you pay attention to, some details, little things, even NDAs and the decision, who knows what, when, you're a lot more careful. Like even today, I had a board meeting, and I said in the meeting, I said, just because I'm not paranoid, it doesn't mean they're not after me. Um, so yeah, you have to be careful, and you have to know when to say what to whom, and yes, and that's all from lessons learned.
Yeah.
Um, and then again, if you focus on the solution more than on the product, then you gain traction in a different direction.
And when you say focus on solution, you mean solution for the customer?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
perfect. Awesome. And you were mentioning too, so it's like that dynamic with the ex-employee. What would you say you've restructured within your company now to make sure that something like that doesn't occur again? Because I know that there was a lot of dynamic of struggle and challenge that he brought forward.
Well, I mean, that in it.
Hmm.
One of my managers has repeatedly told me I should write a book, and even our lawyer and or lawyers and our crisis manager told me in their entire career they never saw the type of attack that we were under. And what I can say to that is sometimes you have to follow your gut feeling. Um, and by that, what I mean is there was something wrong with that person for many years. But I had a manager below, that ran the operations, and she wouldn't let me fire him. And
Yeah.
every once in a while, an issue would come up, and I was like, I'm going to fire him myself. And she wouldn't let me. It's like, no, no, I can handle the problem. Well, something did happen, which was pretty horrible, and she ended up losing her job. And you know, and this guy did all the things that he said.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, this guy ended up doing all these terrible things to us. And so, like I said, for many, and it wasn't just my gut, it was my
Mhm.
partner's gut, some other employees. I mean, and sometimes if things aren't flowing, you have to pay attention to that and make hard
Mhm.
decisions. That's definitely something uh, that we learned. So
Yeah.
we are doing that different. As soon as I mean, it hasn't happened because we're a lot careful with whom we associate, but we are, we have our eyes and our hearts open to, if anybody steps out of line, I, in the sense that, and I hate to use these wishy-washy terms, but he doesn't vibe with us, you know,
Yeah.
we're going to take action. I'm going to take action for sure.
So I think it's really important what you're saying because like I call the gut the intuition, and I feel like business owners don't realize how important it is. I was literally having another conversation with someone just yesterday about this company where they had this third partner who came in, and all these people around them were like, I don't feel right about this. I don't feel right about this. And it wound up costing them tens of millions of dollars, right? Tens of millions of dollars. And you look at it and you're like, what part of us doesn't, like, as business owners, when do we all of a sudden believe like intuition isn't important? And yeah, it's so important to listen to that intuition. And if something doesn't feel right, look into it. Like,
Yeah.
genuinely look into it.
I was facing jail time for
I
something I
know.
didn't do.
I know.
I mean, there were in two separate cities, two separate criminal complaints, anonymous, of course, except we saw the report, and the phone number belongs to the guy that we know did everything, right? It's ridiculous. But anyway, so two different attorneys general were looking into me and my company. And separately, they both filed the process because they didn't find anything. But in the meantime, they paid off uh, this this guy who owns a website, and he takes payoffs to ruin people's reputation.
Mhm.
And everybody knows this is what it is. But so they made up this video, they on YouTube as well. And because this guy used to work in our company, he not only emailed it to every supplier, every manager, every employee he could send it to, but he
Hmm.
sent it to parent companies as well. So we not only lost our customer, we lost some of our main suppliers as well.
Hmm.
One of which I've been doing business for 30 years. Um, I mean, it was a big hit. And but anyway, nothing came of it except the loss of income, if you will. But then, like you yourself told me, it was an opportunity to grow something new that would go in the direction that I really wanted to go into.
Yeah, which is really cool. It's kind of like it was fun to look at that because that challenge really pushed you into the direction you've been thinking about, you've been envisioning, which is cool. So it's cool to see
Yeah.
you. Well, you jumped right on it, by the way, too, which is amazing.
Well, it's not
You're
so
building
easy.
it.
It's not so easy
It
to
is.
make wonderful plans when you're drowning.
Yeah,
When you're
it's
drowning, you're in
hard.
yeah, you're in survival mode. Um, but other people, you
Yep.
included, uh, saw it very clearly. And when you go up for a little air, and then you're there saying, "Hey, this is great," and you're like, "What? What are you talking about?" You didn't say it was great, but you know what I mean.
Like, let me let's look at this a little differently. Let's just one second, give me a minute.
Yeah.
Well, and I think I would love to touch on this too, because I think what's really interesting is I know that when all this happened, you were getting ready to like retire. And so this pulled you back into business.
Well, I was certainly getting closer to it because we
Yep.
were doing quite well. Um, but on the other hand, what am I supposed to do if I retire? It's like watch TV.
Yeah.
This, I mean, this is kind of fun. And the business I'm in is an international business, and you know, you get to go to conferences around the world and meet with people that you've met for 30 years and new people and interesting people. So yeah, it's also fun. It has its fun side.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well,
no, I'm not thinking about retirement right now.
yeah. Yeah, I remember we were talking about it's like, what would you do? Like, it actually sounds to me kind of boring. I don't know if I don't think I could ever fully retire. Like, what am I
Uh,
gonna do all day, you know?
yeah. And like this company, because of because of the things that we're doing, I think it may be interesting for
Mhm.
uh larger fish to look at us and say, we want, we want to take over this. That's a possibility. Um, but we're not even gonna entertain that for at least 5 years, 6 years or more.
Yeah. That's awesome. And I'm curious as well. So, we have this dynamic with the transition and as we said, like you rebuilt during a time where you kind of feel like you're drowning. Like you have all this stuff going on. I know you had all this stuff with the legal stuff, which everything's cleared because obviously nothing happened, but still it's very challenging to get all of that sorted out. I would love for you to share with the listeners even just any helpful tips that you have if they're going through something hard to help them be able to still take those next steps, right? Because, like, I could get on the phone with anyone, anywhere on the planet, and I could do what I did with you, and we could see how it serves. We could see the next side, but it's really up to the person to make sure that they do it and they take that action and they feel it and they experience it. So, what were some of the things that you did to basically put that into play? Make sure you could do it.
Um, when you're in a dark place, it's very easy to succumb to dark thoughts. And uh honestly, I at more than a few times I thought my only option was to end it all
Hmm.
because I couldn't see beyond getting through all this, right? Starting again, et cetera, et cetera. So what I could say to somebody who's in that spot, um, don't avoid it, because there is a reality you have to deal with. Uh, pay attention to the signs, because somebody's up there, and maybe this is part of your individual process.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's a mission for you, and you wouldn't be able to see that mission if you weren't slapped in the butt a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's super difficult to see that uh, when you're going through a rough patch, but I kind of threw a lot in there because the signs, what are these signs? Um, I'm going to use a word. You can choose another one. I'm going to say angels. And uh, these angels will pop up. And Carly, you were one of them. Uh, you were one of those angels. And I had several because, these are people that, and I didn't know you. Uh, we were introduced through a mutual friend. And even though you didn't know me, you cared and you asked very interesting questions, which make you think. Um, and and you were one of several people that helped. So if you close yourself to that,
Yeah.
then how do you get out of the hole?
Yeah.
And then you realize that once you get out of the hole, if you just take that next step and then another step and then another step, soon enough you look back and you're like, whoa, I can't believe I did this.
Yeah.
Um, so hang in there, keep your heart open, keep your ears and eyes open, and don't give up. That would be
Yeah.
that would be my message.
Hey everyone, it's Carly. If you're really resonating with what we're talking about and want to get clear on what truly drives you, what your core values are, head on over to my website. In the tools and tips section, there is a free values assessment. And this is a quick exercise that's going to help you to uncover what actually matters most with you so you can lead and live with more clarity, fulfillment, and momentum. I love that. I think that's a great example of it's kind of like the universe in action trying to help you move, you know? And everyone goes through dark times. Everyone goes through dark times. I had one pretty intensely, like fairly recently, but it's been interesting because it's the same thing. Even though I'm in the darkness, I'm like, why is this person coming? Why is this person coming? This is unusual. Like, what is this? I don't understand it yet. And it's starting to come together into something that I never would have seen without the mess. Like I never would have seen it because it
Yeah.
just never occurred to me that that was like a part of my life and a possibility. Never occurred to me. And so it takes all of this almost darkness that we have to experience to get us to like push out of our comfort zone into these other people, these other stages, these other things. And then it really, yeah, if we follow the breadcrumbs, like it'll get us to where we're meant to go. Not where we thought we
Yeah.
should be, but where we're meant to be. Yeah. Which we
Yeah.
feel so much better there anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not a matter of egotistical pride.
Yeah.
It's but if you manage to pull through certain situations, yeah, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right?
Yeah.
Uh, so it gives you extra strength to keep going and knowing that maybe there's a mission for you and you have a responsibility to pull through for
Yeah.
yourself, for your family, for your employees, for your partners, for whatever, for the people around you, your friends, your loved ones. You pick it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And I agree with that as well. It's like that part of us that thinks that we don't want to go through these things. It's we realize how strong we are, resilient, what we're capable of when we do go through crazy challenges. And then it's like the next time we do something, it's like, oh, I can do this. I can totally
Yeah.
do this. Of course, it's gonna be difficult, but now you know you
Yeah.
can do it. Where it's funny, the first time we start something, we're like, can I even do this? Or later, after you go through it all, it's like, oh yeah, I totally can do this, but it's gonna be hard, but I can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, I mean, uh, don't be afraid to seek help. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
I'm I'm blessed with being surrounded with some people that are important in my life. Like, for example, uh, my business partner. I mean, we've been working together for 20 plus years, I think, and
Hmm.
we've been through everything you can imagine. We worked together in Venezuela, and you probably heard of Venezuela in the news lately.
Yes.
So we both had to leave and lose everything we had there, our business, our families, our property. We lost everything, right?
Hmm.
And like I like to say, I'm a refugee. I don't live in a tent, but it's kind of the same thing. So we've been through a lot, and he stuck with me, and I stuck with him through this process. In when was it now? 2023.
Hmm.
Uh, and then another angel joined forces with us, and he's been amazing, helping us out, helping us navigate, and keeping our thoughts clear and our mission on point. Um, anyway, and for some of the employees that stayed with us, amazing people.
Hmm.
So if you just focus on the dark, that is what you're going to see.
Hmm. Yeah, I love that. I actually want to dive into you with employees and culture a little bit as well, because I actually didn't ever get to talk to you about this, but some of the things that you shared with me just when we connected, I could tell how important culture was to you, whether or not you were implementing things very clearly. I can tell the people that you were almost taking care of were very important. So to you, what does it mean to be like a boss, to have these employees? Like, what does that mean to you?
I've never been asked that. Uh, uh, it's interesting. I recently, I went to a lunch with a dear friend of mine and a whole bunch of people. Half the table I knew, the other half I didn't. And one of the persons that was there introduces himself, and he says, "Oh yeah, I'm such and so. I'm their boss." I was like, "Oh, cool, great to meet you. Here's my card." Blah blah blah. It wasn't a business meeting. It was just somebody, whatever. And after that lunch, I talked to my friend and I said, "That's interesting. I've never introduced myself as somebody's boss." And he said, "I won't talk about that. When I leave this company, I'll tell you more." It's like, all right. But it was kind of an odd way for me to hear somebody introduce themselves, because I don't see myself as a boss. I
Hmm.
know I am. I own the company. I know all that. But I have a vision. There's a direction, a way that I'd like for things to be done. I cannot do it alone, and I'm part of the team. That's the way I see it. Now, I happen to have some experience, which I share, but they also have experiences that they share with me. So
Hmm.
we nurture each other. Yes, if you have a ship, you need a captain that's going to say, we're going in this direction. You need it, but you also need everybody else. So the way that how do I see it? I mean, I have a responsibility. I have a responsibility for them to feel respected,
Hmm.
for them to have an opportunity to grow as individuals and professionals, to be in an environment where they're happy, because nobody really works just for money. I mean,
Yeah.
eventually something's going to break. Um, and like I tell them, yes, money is important. We're working to make some money, and we're working to provide solutions and everything, but it's all worthless if we're not having a good time.
Yeah.
I actually say that to them. It doesn't mean we're going to be irresponsible and take everything as, like a comedy show, but yeah, I try to keep it light.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if I answered the question, but it's a difficult question because I don't see myself as a ruler. I see myself as a team member.
Yep. I think that that's like kind of sums it up perfectly. You said something to me, which it stuck in my brain for a really long time, but something that was really important to you that you valued with working with the individuals in the company is that you mentioned, I don't know if you remember saying this, that you loved giving them the opportunity to live a better life, right? And yeah, so I was like, yeah, so being almost, it's like a leader is important to you, not a ruler in a sense, but that leader, and that
Yeah.
leadership is like these people are family. So what does that look like even structurally in the company? Like, do you guys do anything extra special? Like, do they talk about values, mission? Like, how do you interact with employees? What does that look like?
It's a day-to-day thing. Now, keep in mind, we're spread out. The bulk of the company is based out of Colombia, but we do business for now, in the rest of Latin America. So we have people traveling all the time. Uh, we have a new manager in Argentina. Our CFO is in Florida. I live in Panama. Uh, our advisor lives in Miami. It's uh, we have customers in Texas. It's suppliers in India, China, Colombia, Mexico. It's all. Uh, but I do travel a lot. I see my team, not all of them, all the time. But we try to have
Mhm.
uh, Zoom get-togethers, and everybody's free to say and ask and suggest. Uh, like I said, I actually, this goes to, because we talked about it in my last visit to the company. Uh, what is they talk about a company's culture,
Yes.
and how do you define it? It's very difficult because
Yes.
it's very unique, and you can't put it on a piece of paper. You can't hang it on the wall and say, this is our culture. If you do that, it's going to be just a bunch of BS. You know it, right? You know. So the culture is really what that energy you put out, that style. You know, I like to be respected. I like to respect my customers. I like to respect my employees. I like everybody to respect each other
Hmm.
and have fun at the same time. So there is that atmosphere of, yes, we're going to have stressful days. Yes, we're going to disagree. We're even going to fight sometimes. But if you trust somebody, you get over the fight and then you go have a coffee together.
Yeah.
Because there's trust.
Yep.
Um, so it's a day-to-day thing. It's how you write an email. It's how you talk to somebody. It's the intent behind your words.
Yeah.
I
It's
there's
just
no.
embedded in everything, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you have to pay attention to those details. And as you grow older, you do pay attention to those things even more.
Yeah.
Um, it's like when I write an email, I think a lot before hitting send,
Yeah.
you know? In fact, I'll tell you something else. Sometimes I write emails in my notes
Yeah.
and then I copy paste them into the email just so there's no chance I can hit send by mistake.
Yeah. I've had some of those situations. I worked at a company once where someone was complaining about one of the customers and then pushed send, didn't realize that the customer was CC'd. The owner got a call and was like, "So, can I get a new sales rep?" And she's like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
Um,
But it is a day-to-day thing. Uh, that consistency is what defines everybody's character, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's very cool. And is there anything else that you look for, like when you guys are hiring people? I know a big part of it now is intuition. Is there anything else that you look for to make sure that they're going to be the type of the people that really fit this dynamic?
Yeah. So even though I get involved in some of the interviews, I could, but I don't have the final say.
Hmm.
Um, I make it very simple on my end. It's very simple.
Hmm.
Hire for attitude, train for aptitude.
Hmm.
You cannot make somebody who's smart and professional and knowledgeable. You cannot make him be more empathetic, more customer service oriented. You can't. It comes with the person. Um, if the person is super smart, doesn't get along with anybody in the company, it's like, what does
Yeah.
that do? It ruins the culture of the company. That's what it does.
Yeah.
So you hire for attitude. I mean, what are you looking for? You looking for somebody who seems genuine and has the right attitudes. Like, yeah, I want to do this. Let's go.
Yeah.
All right. Turns out she or he doesn't know how to do a certain thing. We train.
Yep.
I didn't know anything when I studied mechanical engineering. And my first real job was as an export manager for a large cable manufacturing firm. So I went from doing like, you know, physics and, equations and stuff to selling submarine cable with fiber optic to oil companies in Louisiana. And I didn't I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything about cables, about exporting, about Incoterms, about shipping, about nothing. I knew nothing. But nobody knows anything. You train for it and then you keep going. But you have to have the attitude.
Yeah. So that's the main thing you guys look for is just making sure that they have the right attitude to be able to fit in
Yeah.
the company. Yeah. Very cool. I totally agree with that. Yeah. Get someone with the wrong attitude that doesn't fit your culture and it just takes everything down. Everything down. So yeah, that's very cool. I'm curious too, like when you transitioned from being an employee to owning a business, what was it that got you to make that transition? What was it that got you to make the shift?
I got fired.
That's awesome. Thank you to them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. So I like to say it that way, but even my then boss tells me to this day, it's like, I didn't fire you. We let you go. It's different. It's like, yeah, okay. Um, so the company I worked for had just recently been bought by a bigger fish. And they didn't know anything about the oil industry. I was in the oil business. And soon enough, after they bought the company, oil prices fell and, our sales dropped. We've been in the business for a while. We know that cycles happen, right? It goes up, it goes up, it goes down, etc. Well, they didn't see it that way. They wanted to get their money back
Mm.
on the purchase because they paid a big sum of money for this company. So they decided to cut, a bunch of people, and I was one of them. At the time, I was their Latin America sales manager. And since it was on amicable terms, it was like, well, why don't you stay on as a rep? And it's like, okay, cool. So they actually helped me out, set up my new company in a way. It's like now they were my main supplier. I was free to do business with other companies and I was going to work on commission. In fact, what happened is, what do you know? Oil prices went up and I ended up making more than twice the money that I would have made had I stayed on as an employee,
Hmm.
but they paid it through commissions. So, hey, and anyway, so yeah, that's how I got started. And then after that, I started negotiating with different companies and I diversified into different parts and technologies that go into the oil wells. Uh, and that's what I've been doing for 20 something years.
That's amazing. And so I know that too, right now, you said that what you do is very different, like it very much differentiates in the market. So what is the differentiator that you have now? What is it that makes you so niche?
Yeah. So if you're a distributor,
Mm.
if you sell, if you have a car dealership and you sell Toyota, that's what you do. Toyota provides cars, you sell cars. That's what I used to do. Not Toyota, but other products. And through what we ended up doing in the last few years, we ended up becoming more like consultants,
Hmm.
because we wouldn't just sell a Toyota. We would ask, what are you going to use it for? Do you have a large family? Are you going to go off road? Are you going to carry big payloads? And then based on that, we would design which vehicle. And I know you know, we don't sell cars. Um, which vehicle is the most appropriate for that customer. So to be more specific, uh, one of our specialties now is we will go to an oil company. And I mean, it's easy for us because we deal with oil all day, but a lot of people don't know how complex it is to
Hmm.
produce oil. It's very, very difficult and hard. And so you have all kinds of issues. First of all, since we're in the artificial lift business, artificial lift is anything that is not naturally produced. But right now, most oil in the world is produced with artificial lift. By that, I mean, most people have seen in the movies the beam pump, the thing that goes up and down. That's very inefficient, but there are many other methods, jet pumps and progressive cavity pumps. And then the big one in the industry is electrical submersible pump, which is basically a modified water pump. But
Mhm.
these things, which are maybe 5 inches in diameter,
Yeah.
fit into a hole that is 7 to 9 inches in diameter. Now think about this. This is this size, and it
Mhm.
goes 10, 15,000 feet below ground.
Yeah.
And through there, you have to put a pump, a motor, a cable,
Mhm.
a sensor, a gas separator, a sand separator, this, a that, a packer, a white tool, a this, cable protectors, all these components, and something can fail. You have electrical issues, you have mechanical issues, you have all kinds of issues. And then you have specific issues to wells, which may include sand issues or gas issues, gas buildup issues, which will make the pump cavitate and destroy itself. Or you may have chemical issues. You may have scale or paraffins or corrosion. So what we do is we look at each well and say, all right, how much sand do you have? What kind of sand do you have? How much are
Mhm.
you producing? How much gas do you have? What kind of chemical issues do you have? And then we provide design, a package that does a complete protection. And amazingly, we have some very impressive results that have uh, ended up in technical papers being presented uh, at SPE events, Society of Petroleum Engineers, or the equivalent in different countries.
Mhm.
We had one case recently, which was offshore, which offshore, for those not in the oil industry, just means more money, a lot more money, because everything is way more complicated. Um, so when you have a pump fail, it's a big deal because it costs a lot of money to pull that pump up. You're losing revenue on the oil you're not producing. Then you have to
Mhm.
bring a new pump in. It's just a lot of money. And the average runtime for this customer offshore was 170 days.
Mhm.
After we stepped in, we uh we presented a paper where we showed we brought it up to 750 days,
Wow.
which is not a 10% increase.
That's
It's
huge. Yeah.
huge. And it I mean, for this much money, they make literally millions more money.
Right.
Millions. Um, so now people are like, that's interesting. I gotta talk to you.
Now they're like, I need
And
you.
and
Yeah.
believe it or not, there are these huge companies around the world, and they're wonderful companies like
Mhm.
Halliburton, Schlumberger, Baker Hughes, blah 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 blah. And some of them have certain products that
Yeah.
address some of these issues, but none of them look at the problem in a holistic way,
Yeah.
which is very interesting to us. So there's that little niche where we've specialized.
Hey everyone, it's Carly. So, if this conversation is really hitting home and you want to get a real snapshot of what's working and what's not in your business, head on over to my website in the tools and tips section and you can have the business performance health check. In just about 15 minutes, you're going to see where the friction is and where your next growth opportunity lies within your company. That's really cool. I'm curious as well, because like this dynamic of being able to problem solve to that degree, right? So we have these large companies that don't understand the technicalities the same way that you do. Was part of the education, like, was it trial and error with your clients, understanding like their needs, going to learn about it? Like, what does that look like to get you to be able to be an expert in that way?
Trial and error is one of them
Yeah.
because the conditions change all the time. I mean, you can even change the frequency of the motor, and then you
Mhm.
pump more oil, which causes another set of problems.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah. And then what we have been doing is building up a database of experience, and then that's something we fall back on to look. Hey, we have a similar case in this case, in this situation, and maybe we can try it this way. And then if that didn't work, we can fine tune by adding this or making something a little bit longer. and it's a constant design and redesign
Hmm.
and learning.
Okay. So it sounds like the difference, a big difference too, between the previous company and this company is there's a major level of consultancy that's going in to
Yeah.
make sure that it's operating, like you said, effectively, efficiently, most cost efficiently.
Yep.
Yeah. Very
Yeah.
cool. And you got
Very
decades
different.
of data to like help you know where to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. It's very interesting. Whereas before, we just had a catalog. It's like, hey, what do you need? We have this, this, and this. And they'd
Yeah.
go like, well, I don't need this. I just need this. Okay. That's a fair business. Plenty of businesses survive that way, but that's not our current model.
Yeah. Well, that's really cool. How is it for you? I'm curious because this is a big difference where it sounds like are you more involved with the customers, more connected? Like, are you troubleshooting more? What's the difference for you as the owner in this dynamic?
Um, I'm not involved in day-to-day stuff with customers anymore.
Mm.
Uh, Only when there are problems. uh, I'm certain customers, yes,
Hmm.
especially those with whom we're talking about certain alliances, like maybe with not necessarily an oil company, but like a service company. Um, and so I get involved in that. Like the way that I see hmm, for me, one of my main uh job items, if you will, is grow the company beyond its current borders, right?
Hmm.
So I am looking at ways of finding partnerships, possibly employees, possibly reps or distributors, etc. I'm constantly in touch and looking for opportunities uh, beyond our current borders.
Hmm.
So in that sense, yes. If I'm knocking on a door for the first time, I am the face. But then I move on to something else, and somebody else takes over, and the ball keeps rolling.
And how do you train your employees to have that same level of expertise so they know what to provide? Yeah.
Um, uh, it takes about 6 months to train somebody.
Okay.
Uh, uh, but it's just the process, it's like that first Karate Kid movie. It's like you do this and this. You start with the basics, and then you
Yeah.
build from that. Uh, yeah, and like I said, it's a shared experience because I learn from my employees all the time. Because
Yeah.
they're experts in certain things that I'm not. Uh,
Yeah.
in fact, the company went in a direction that I was not an expert in initially. So it's a two-way street.
That's very cool. Do you have like a dynamic where for that 6 months, like is there a structure set up for to train them? Do the employees go in? Are they helping each other kind of dynamic? I'm wondering what that looks like.
We don't have anything. I
Mm.
mean, it's a small company.
Yep.
Uh, we don't have anything structured like a classroom where somebody sits them down and
Yeah.
tells them, okay, ABC. We don't have that. What we do have is, I mean, obviously, we're hiring petroleum engineers or chemical engineers or mechanical engineers. They can grasp the technical aspect pretty quickly. But then all the other stuff, the experience, how do you train for that? You just
Yep.
have to suffer a little bit. So it's like, this is what we do. And then you start slowly getting them involved in putting a quote together. It's like,
Yeah.
why are we offering this? Well, because the customer filled out the sheet and he talked to us and he told us this, and this. And they have a certain type of sand and certain quantity of sand. And for that, if we do this from experience, it should work. And if it
Mhm.
doesn't, we're going to have to look at it again, that kind of thing. And it's a day-to-day thing. So you
Yeah.
just get more and more responsibilities. Plus, our guys have so much work right now that they're happy to dump stuff on somebody. And then that somebody's just has to ask questions and then, just make it through.
Yeah, that's awesome. So it does sound like everyone's really helping each other, though. It's like no one's left in the dust. It's kind of that's part of the culture as well.
Yeah. Not only that, like the people that work in admin and logistics, for example, the people that, move things from here to there and get into customs and get the shipping and all that, and or move the money, they're like, uh, what do we do? I Because they don't understand any of what I just talked about, right? They don't know anything
Yeah,
about oil wells. So one of our challenges for this year is to train our non-engineer employees so that they can have an intelligent conversation about what exactly it is that we do.
that's awesome.
Because it is kind of technical. And if I tell a friend what I do, 2 weeks later, he's not going to remember, what I
Yeah,
said.
yeah.
He's just going to say, yeah, yeah, you sell valves. It's like, no, no, I don't sell valves. That's not what, look, yeah, we sell valves.
Like there are valves there, but it's not exactly what I do.
Yeah, no, somebody else supplies the valves. We do something else.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. I mean, I think it's beautiful because you can kind of see as the company's like developing to ever greater degrees, like all these little refinements that you guys are putting in. It's like, yeah, then it's almost like that what do they call it? The elevator pitch, where
Yeah,
you're refining an elevator pitch so that the rest of the admin team can understand this dynamic, which
yeah,
is cool. It tags two birds with
yeah.
one stone.
And also, we may be small, but we do a little bit of everything. I mean, we do field work, we do technical work, we do the engineering design, we do the supplies, we do the logistics, we import, we export, we do a lot. I
Yeah.
mean, we have people working, you know, Christmas Eve at 11 p.m. on a well because
Yeah.
there's a pull happening. It's the way it is.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. So some of your staff is just kind of traveling around the world to be able to address situations live. Is that also that's also occurring?
Not so much operationally, but
Okay.
so it's a combination. So yeah, sales or engineering work. But then uh, in Colombia, for example, we're involved operationally
Hmm.
directly with a lot of customers. And so yeah, we're involved in the operation per se.
Okay.
And if somebody calls us from a a place that's very far away, we'll just have to figure it out. Either we send somebody there to stay there for a while, we hire somebody local. We don't, it'll depend on the situation.
Okay. Okay, that's cool. So it's not just it's like on-site too, not just off-site dynamic that you guys
Oh
are
yeah,
consulting
yeah,
in.
yeah.
Yeah.
Also, when something fails, um, you have to do a pull. You pull everything out, and then you have to look
Yeah.
at it to see what went wrong. So you have to look, what happened to
Mhm.
everything, not just the stuff we provided, but the stuff
Anything.
everybody else provided. You have to look at the cable. Did the cable fail? Did the pump or the motor, was there a a, a power surge? Was there,
Yeah.
what happened? All
Yeah.
kinds of stuff. And we're involved with, again, with chemicals, for example. We provide nanotechnology to treat the oil that's going into the well, and then we have solid chemicals that treat the oil so it doesn't affect the pump. All kinds of stuff.
Mhm.
It's complicated stuff.
And I'm curious too, because when you describe this, it sounds like if I have an issue with my well, right? Like I pull it out and I see that the cable is broken, right? Are you also trying to understand why the cable is broken?
All
So
the time.
that's what it sounds like. Because basically, like on what you're sharing, it sounds like it may not just be the cable, it might be the other components. So we don't just replace the cable. We want to make sure like it's that holistic view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's kind of
there's
fun.
something called a tear down report.
Yep.
And that's because, trust me, oil companies are not happy when something fails.
For sure. Yeah. It's a
Because
huge hit.
I mean, you have a well that's producing, I'll say a number, 5,000 barrels per day. Do the
Mhm.
math, how many dollars per barrel per day? And then once it stops, you have to race out there, find a rig to pull everything out. And remember, you have the tubing, you have the pump, the motor, the cable, the cable protector, the sensor, all these jewels that go down, right? And you have a rig that's
Yeah.
pulling this stuff very slowly and undoes each tube and puts it aside. And then you put all the equipment off to the side and you put them in a shop because usually oil wells are in nasty places. So it's going to be raining or snowing. It's complicated stuff. It's
Yeah.
dirty business. And in the meantime, the oil company's not making any money. They already made a huge investment, uh, opening the well and putting all that equipment. And then, for it not to produce oil, it's a big issue. So yeah, there's a teardown report. You have to look at everything and then constantly try to improve.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's funny because when you talk about you're creating that like dynamic where admin teams can understand what you do, I think you did a really good job explaining it. I've everything that you've been saying, like I've been visualizing it. I was like, I feel like I understand what you do, and I understand the oil industry to a greater degree. So I think that you guys are going to do really well with that because I'm getting a really visual explanation and dynamic in my head and just being like,
Yeah.
hey, I think I get it now.
Yeah, but you can imagine these guys that are in the admin side of things or logistics.
Yeah.
I don't even know how many part numbers they have, right? And little things that do little things that go together with other little things into bigger things. And it's like, to them, it's just a bunch of part numbers.
Yeah. Yeah. All the
So
moving
yeah,
pieces.
to help them understand what all the Lego pieces do is a challenge.
That's cool.
Obviously, in more detail than what we're doing here.
What we dove into.
Yeah.
And I'm curious too. So when you talk about like the mission of the company, you kind of touched on that a little bit. What is the mission that you guys have created for this company?
Yeah, the mission is to become a leader in our in our area of expertise, not just in our comfort zone, which has been Latin America, because we're getting calls from other places. And so if we can get into the Middle East, parts of Africa, North America, well, northern North America, because we already sell in Mexico, but Canada, US,
Yes.
that would be our mission, and to be recognized as a service company that provides a valuable solution to problems.
That's beautiful. Yes, you guys are really going global now.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah. And before we finalize, if there's anything else, like any other advice that you could give to a business owner that comes to mind based on all the lovely things you've gone through, what would that be?
Yes. So I actually said this recently in a meeting. If I know life is not binary, uh, but if you see your life, those I don't know what these boards are called, the ones with the pegs, and you drop a ball and the ball keeps dropping.
Oh yeah. I don't know what they're called either, but I know what you're
Yeah.
talking about. And it goes like tick, 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 tick.
Yeah, yep. So you drop a ball here, you don't know where it's going to end up.
Yep.
So if you see each one of those pegs as a decision,
Mhm.
that's what I call a binary decision. And one of those is the right way to do it, the correct way to do it, the proper way to do it. And the other way, cutting corners, iffy, just do it the right way.
Totally.
Because you are tempted,
Yeah.
the devil is out there,
Yeah.
and they will tell you, hey, if we do this, we'll get more. We'll get it faster. We'll get it.
Catches up later in ways that you're not happy with. Yeah.
Yes. So sometimes doing the right thing is difficult, but just trust the process. Trust the pegboard.
Yeah. That's interesting. That's actually something that I was thinking about today because there's a particular individual in a company I was thinking about that did it the wrong way. And it's really costing them now. But from some bad advice from someone who had told them, it's like, well, this will make it faster and this will make it like you'll make more money and you'll get it faster. And now long term, they're in a lot of trouble. They're in a lot of trouble.
And I'm not saying something major,
It's tempting.
like a crime or bribery, but even just a little thing, it's like, let's call this instead of that. because that'll save us some time. It's like, no, 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 no,
Yeah.
no, just do the right
Get it
thing.
done the first time. Yeah. Get it done effectively the first time.
Yeah. So that's what I call binary decisions.
Mhm.
There's the right way and there's the not so right way.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I really love that. And
And you
I
sleep better at
yeah.
night,
It's
You-
also brain noise. Yes.
yeah, you sleep better at night
Yeah.
because no matter what happens, you did the
Yeah.
right thing.
Totally. Well, and I think it's kind of like the situation that you went through, as stressful as it was, at the end of the day, it's like you're probably more focused on what people are going to help me get out of a situation that I didn't do anything illegal with, right? As opposed to, had you actually done something, it's a completely different stress. I think that when I talked to you, you would have just been an absolute disaster, because you would have been like, I'm going to jail. And you're like, I'm not going to jail, but now I have to deal with all this crap. And so it's like, even like those tiny little bits and pieces, those steps along the way, you're right. It's like when something bad happens, when crazy things happen, your mental noise, your own mental health is going to be preserved if you've just
Yeah.
made those little baby steps along the way. You've done that right thing in the right direction. I think that's the best advice that you can give anyone. Mental
Yeah.
noise is exhausting. Yeah.
hmm
Yeah.
And we all want to get things done quickly and bigger and better. Everybody. But sometimes things have to take their time.
Yeah. That's great advice. Thank you so much. I really appreciate having you today. I had so much fun. I had fun learning about this and all the other parts of your company, and I had a lot of fun learning about how the oil rigs work
I'm
too.
sorry I nerded out on the
Uh,
technical stuff.
And if anyone nerded out, I'm sorry I nerded out too, because I was like, I'm really enjoying this. So thank you for nerding out with me. I really enjoyed actually learning about that. I'm a bit of a nerd, so that was fun for me, and hopefully it was fun for everyone else. If you guys enjoyed it as well, feel free to forward it, like it, share it. We'd love for you to kind of spread the word. And where can people find you? I would love for them to know where they can find you, either personally or your business, and definitely so they can potentially read your future book that I also agree with your friends you would be amazing at writing.
Oh my God.
Challenge accepted.
No, seriously, my manager he's telling me, dude, you have to write that book. You have to write that. It's like, yeah, okay.
I think it's a good
But
idea. So
my company website is velocityals.com. Uh, there's a button there to send an email, and I get those emails. So if you reach out, I'll certainly read it and answer. And if they contact you, you can give them my number for sure.
yeah.
I'm on WhatsApp, Signal, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. So I'm not hiding.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. And I'll put all the links in the show notes too. So thank you again. I really appreciate this. This was amazing. I
Hey,
think
this was fun.
we all hope you put out your book. So yeah, we
Yeah.
look forward to seeing that.
And once again, thank you so much for helping me. And thanks for this. This was fun.
Yeah, it's been
I
my
hope it does
pleasure.
help somebody.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bye bye.